I'd like to apologize in advance because I'm outdoors and there's a helicopter that's near in the vicinity. So again, I apologize for the background noise. But let me continue. I want to share a technique, a gardening technique with many of you. And as a master gardener and a certified botanist, I'm very skilled in this specific area. So bear with me. Oftentimes, this technique is employed with houseplants or outdoor figs, but you never hear about this technique when it comes to our citrus trees and our fruit trees. This technique is very simple, but it's also a technique that, well, again, you don't hear about it. Why? Because many people either have not done it or don't believe in it. There's no research to actually substantiate it. That's the thing about research, though. When you get to a certain level of research, things can always be challenged. Quite simply, if you make sure you bring in about 3 or several hypotheses, you'll always come up with a linear line going straight across. Anyone knows statistics knows that linear line is a good thing. If it sways left or right, up or down, you've got a problem. Okay? So, what did I do? I wanted to put this through an experiment. And I did this over a 3-month period. That's correct. I'm going to come back with part 3 because I have a part 1 and part 2. And part 3 is going to show you from the month I started this with a particular plant. The next month I started it with another plant. In other words, again, in order to make sure I have a valid point, or correlation doesn't necessarily equal causation, but in this case, I'm going to show you how it definitely does because I took several of my citrus trees and performed this on. And in part 2, I'm going to show you the fruit tree side. So you're probably anxious and ready for this, right? Well, this technique I use because oftentimes as our citrus trees grow, or maybe you bought one from your local nursery and it had all this beautiful lush green, but there was an area along the trunk that was just bare. And you say, oh, that's the only problem. Instead, you put the tree back and say, I want one that's not bare, or I'm going to wait till they get some more that has a more fuller look. That's the actions of an amateur. Don't let that bare area stop you from purchasing a good citrus tree. I'm going to share with you how I fixed it and how I fixed mine. Now, my trees are much more bigger. They've grown and so forth. But because of the techniques that I employ, my trees grow very fast. In doing so, there's a downside. All that energy is going to push out so much growth, but in the end, you're going to have some bare spots. Let's get a little closer here, and I'll come back with my ending commentary, and we'll see what happens, okay? Now, before I, go around and get a closer look at the plant, this is my Barry's lime, and it's a beautiful tree, and is growing exceptionally well and is over almost 7 feet tall. In fact, if you take that stem that's bending over, it'll be way over 7 feet tall. You'll notice that there's this long branch here. This branch is over 36 inches long. Well, that's one of the newer growth that shot out from me employing this technique. So let's get a little closer and we'll have a better look at the tree. Now, if you look at the tree, you'll notice it's very bare in this area. And this is the area that we want to attack. Now you'll also notice you have a lot of branches over here, about a dozen of them. Some over here is about 24 inches long, and they're all light in color, and that's why you can tell the difference between the new growth versus the old growth. Now, all of these new branches came from a technique that I employed called notching. Let's get a little closer look, and I'm going to share this with you folks. Now, when looking with the naked eye, it may be harder to view it. In some cases, it's very pronounced. Everywhere a branch is formed, it comes from a node. We're going to look down here for a moment, and I'm going to take this pointer on the end of this knife. So here's a branch here. You notice there's a node. Here's a branch here. There's a node. Now, the goal here is we want to make sure we produce branches from the nodes. Where are the other nodes? Well, here's a node. Here's a node. Let's get in a little bit closer. So this here is a node. Over here's a node. Over here's a node. And if you continue to go up the tree, you'll see more nodes, and so forth. Now the goal here is to get in here and notch so that I can produce more branches. Let me go on the other side and I'll show you. Here's the bare bark, the bare bark of the trunk. The goal here is to take my sharp knife, and you don't have to be rough. We're going to take this node here, and just above the node, which is only a centimeter, probably not even that, we're going to take our knife, and we're going to simply, just like so, we're going to take this node, and we're going to do the same, just like so. We're going to go down to this node, and we're going to, once again, see the node? Just slightly above it. You're going to cut into the tree. Let's go down and get this node here. And we got a few more nodes that we couldn't visibly see from the other side. We're going to go over here to the node. We're going to put our knife there. To the node. We're going to put our knife there. And we got one down here. I don't know if the camera can pick it up. Now, once again, we want to see where the branch comes from and see the node itself. You see the node right there? And this will continue along the tree. Again, sometimes the energy is more pronounced in certain areas, and we want to make sure that we get a very symmetrical tree. So you see, there's a few things that you're going to need when you do this. Make sure all of your equipment is sterile, and make sure it's sharp enough to do the job right. If it's dull, you could end up pushing too hard and damaging the bark, causing bacteria or virus to enter into the tree. Disease, you don't want that. So make sure you have a sharp pair of pruners, even a box cutter. Just be sure to exchange the blade for a new one. Right here, a sharp knife from your kitchen. And of course, I can't find my paring knife. I actually have a couple of paring knives. That's a kit. You can purchase those at Amazon, or look at the link below this video, and you can purchase a kit for a low price, very low, that every gardener should have them. Purchase it right in my Amazon. My affiliate links below this video. It helps support the channel. Doesn't pay a lot, but every bit counts. Now, I've showed you the technique. That's how you notch a citrus tree. But then again, I know I'm going to have those out there who are skeptical. But let me ask you this. Did man create man, or did the Creator create man? The fact is, the Creator created man. So therefore, we can never tell the Creator what is or what isn't, what's possible or what's impossible. In fact, the Creator himself states that that which is impossible to man is possible to Elohim. We need to remember that when we're trying to call someone experiment a fluff. At the end of the day, these are my trees, and they respond accordingly, positively. What do your trees look like? If this technique helps you, well, should I dare to say try it? But then again, many of you that are going to try this technique do not know the basics of gardening. Until then, I hope it helps. Wait till I show you the other trees. Coming soon. Over the next week, I'm going to go through all 23. Yes, 23 different varieties of citrus trees in my food forest. I'm going to talk specifically about the cultivar, what it does and how it benefits you, how you can grow it, and share with you that not all citruses are equal. They all just don't respond the same. I hope it helps. It's now almost 12 minutes into this video. Thank you for taking the time to watch it, and I appreciate each and every last one of you. I truly do. Take care.